So, Atandwa, love you, bro. We love you. Take care. Segment 3, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to move straight to it. Thank you so much to my BET competition winners. You guys are phenomenal. I'm loving the questions. So much to learn, so much to know. The next segment, which is the final segment as we race against time, but please, I ask you all to just bear with us. Segment 2 panelists, if you want to stay and join the third segment, please do. If you do exit, it's all love and it's all respect. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep shining. Our next panelist group consists of these amazing individuals. I'm going to run through them as best as I can. So we have, first and foremost, leader at BET Africa, Mr. Monde Twala, the man who helps keep the continent abreast and helps keep us all connected by giving us a pathway and a portal to great content, but also providing us platforms to make sure that we can express our African artistry for the global scale and for the global audience. Smiley, Mr. Twala, welcome to the conversation and welcome to the room.
Sanbonani, hey everybody.
How you doing?
You doing, sir?
I'm doing.
You are doing and you are feeling. How are you doing under lockdown and how's quarantine life? You still have all your hair?
No, it's all gone. But it's not. It's gone from the stress. It's more stress than anything now. All is good. Excited to be on this forum panel. I've been listening in. It's been great knowledge sharing, and I think this is what that's the power of being African now, is that we've got so much knowledge and experience, a wealth of knowledge and experience, and by sharing, I think we can collectively, definitely change the space. I'm more excited about, shifting. I'm more excited about shifting the topic. More excited about how the world positions itself in Africa, and obviously I think from where we are now, I think a few people on the panel have expressed the great opportunity that Africans have in terms of the authenticity of the African story. Is quite a game-changing approach. I think the world is run out of stories, and Africa's next.
Absolutely. It's like I say, we are that spice. The world is like, let's try something new. Let's open the top drawer. We right there. So I'm definitely with you. Next, we have in this amazing group a man who has, shaken screens for a very long time and consistently without any sign of stopping. This man is a martial artist. He's an actor. He is a director. He will kick your ass on this Zoom live right now, and get away with it. That's how slick he is. I've watched this man's movies for a very long time. He is consistent and he is running his own lane in Hollywood. Ladies and gentlemen, we can't clap. In fact, we can clap, or we can give a big thumbs up for my man, Mr. Michael. Mr. Michael Jai White. I'll say it again. Michael Jai White. Welcome, sir.
Thank you for having me. I'm happy to join you.
Thank you for joining us, you and your entire voice. You're rumbling through all the countries, Welcome to the platform and welcome to the room, Michael. I have so many questions for you. I had a good 6 questions and my team told me to tone it down because we don't have that much time. So I've got 1 or 2 for you. So I hope you can stick around for those questions as well as the BET winners. The third panelist that we have on this group is a lady that I've just recently gotten to meet because she is the co-producer and co-founder of the Blueprint series, amongst many other things that she does. She's also the co-producer, and she is, you know, founder of WSA, and she works hand in hand with Samad. I've gotten to research her and really know more about her offering in casting, in creating, and building careers. When I first saw her face, I was like, is that Oprah on our group? I was like, when we had our first Zoom, I was like, am I seeing right? And I got to know her, Miss Winsome Sinclair. Welcome, my lady.
Hello, everyone. Gosh, this is so humbling to see these amazing panelists. Thank you, Tapella. Your voice and your guidance is helping us traverse this so seamlessly. And, you know, when I even thought of the Blueprint series 18 years ago in 2002, I had no idea that this day would come. I'm truly humbled to hear the conversation that we're finally having across the waters, across the continent to Africa. And I'm inspired not only to be here today, because I feel like even with all the social distancing, I feel very present and connected to everybody that's been on this Zoom. So what happens from here, I am sure will be magical, because you know, we are a people that can create and make, you know, magic anywhere. So, and thank you to every single panelist. We could not have done this without you. And most especially thank you to my brother who took us across the water. Samad, thank you so much for being the captain to steer this ship and making this happen. And everybody on the team, my partner here in Atlanta, everybody on the Blueprint team here in the United States. We are thankful to every one of you guys. Thank you for having me. Thank you for joining me, I should say.
Thank you so much, Winsome. Thank you so much for making this whole entire experience a reality. It's really, really phenomenal. I'm learning a thing or two, or 10, to be quite honest. And last but not least, in fact, second to last, we have got a lady who is a powerhouse actress, producer, businesswoman. And from what I've seen recently this week, just following her on the social media, an undying and resilient philanthropist. I see all the work that she's doing throughout this tough time across the world, especially in Ghana. You know, a power woman, a powerhouse, a force, you know, incredible individual. I would like to welcome to this room, Miss Jocelyn Dumas. I hope I'm pronouncing it properly.
Yes, it's okay. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Jocelyn. Thank you, Jocelyn. We really, you know, I'm clicking like every time I see you changing lives and helping people. It's really beautiful. And yeah, we appreciate that. Last but not forever and not least, you know, because we're going to do this again. This lady is the lady that was quite instrumental in my breaking out in the film and TV industry. I starred alongside her in my first big TV role that introduced me to the South African market on a soapie called Generations. She was not only a big name then, but she was such a sister, and she was so accommodating when I was intimidated to work across such a powerhouse on my first big production in South Africa. But she was kind, and she guided me and mentored me from a distance. And I could never forget those moments, because I'm standing here today, almost 20 years in my career. So a woman I really appreciate, and a woman that the entire nation of South Africa appreciates. A powerhouse, a producer, a fine actress, and a family woman, and a businesswoman who has built a brand and expanded on so many levels and taught us a lot about endorsement deals and branching out into corporate as an artist. Ladies and gentlemen, lastly, I'd like to welcome Mrs. Connie Ferguson of Ferguson Films.
She's going to be joining us shortly. One sec. She was on earlier.
Let me guess. She's running an empire, isn't she?
Yeah.
Queen Ferguson.
She will join back on. So you can just.
All right, cool, no problem. 100%. So that is our last panel. and I'm gonna get straight to it. Welcome everybody. Thank you for sticking around, Atandwa and segment 2 panelists. The first question is to the man in charge of BET Africa, the leader himself, Mr. Monde Twala. Your question is coming all the way from Uganda. We are connecting the continents as Blueprint series. Miss Anita Fabiola, is she with us? Do we have Anita in the room?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's right there.
Oh,
yeah. Hi. Can you
How
hear
you
me?
doing, Anita?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm very good, my sister. We can hear you very well. Fire
Yeah.
away, Monday is listening to you.
Yeah. Well, this is a very, very iconic group of panelists. Very, very honored. Thank you. So, Mr. Monday, usually East African countries are left out by the corporations, by the storytellers, by the content creators, and most times they say it's because we don't have enough numbers or there's not enough buying power. So they usually do not give a chance to our content, to our stories. And you find that most times it's either West Africa or South Africa, that is South Africa, of course, then Nigeria, Ghana. So East Africa, Kenya, Uganda, Burundi, Rwanda are usually left out of these conversations. So my question is, how do we be part of these conversations without necessarily having to change our area code and maybe move to Nigeria or move to South Africa for us to, you know, be part of these huge platforms and tell our stories as East Africans?
100%. I think just to kick it off, I think you know, there's kind of the usual suspects when it comes to content creation or platforms. To be honest, so South Africa, as you know, I think from an infrastructure perspective, South Africa is quite established. If you look at you know, the Nigeria market in terms of just Nollywood and how the scene and the entertainment scene has evolved over time, has also been you know, a good step in the right direction. You know, I do think Kenya is, from an industry perspective, if you look at just the broadcast and production industry in Kenya, it's also coming up and growing. For me, it's ultimately down to, you know, it has to obviously also make business sense. You know, I'm a great believer in what we do as a platform and as a network. You know, we do have Pan-African reach. We have and we have different projects. Funny enough, I have a project I'm working on right now that will in Kampala, in Uganda, Kampala, for one of the MTV brands. So you know, but
Wait,
once again,
audition.
I'll look out on our platforms. We'll probably make announcements soon. The opportunity, I think, it's there. I think it's about structure. I think you know, that's, you know, Uganda or Tanzania cannot kind of be Hollywood immediately. I think we all have to conquer our own territories, and before we try and conquer Hollywood. I think let's start at home. Organized structures are important. I think collaboration and different models. I mean, I think Samad and I always talk about how do we evolve business models. You know, I've heard just now some of the panelists talking about doing, you know, starting off from, you know, from a base of and a foundation of doing short form, and then you build into the long form kind of model. It's not easy to navigate. I'm not going to say it's easy, because it is ultimately about resources. But funny enough, it's also about innovation. I think you know, who knew that such a wealth of experience can be on one forum, people across the world, different time zones, all at the same time. So that's innovation. So it's going to take a bit more innovation in how we conquer or how the continent can conquer a more Pan-African approach. From a BT perspective, I think for the last 5 years, that's what we've been trying to do, trying to see how we can, obviously steadily, gain scale in terms of the projects that we do on the continent. We do reach, 49 countries across the continent, but you also have to understand that each country has its own nuance. I think as Africans, we are so diverse in culture, taste, language, that we can't get anywhere. But I think the most important thing is about just being organized. I think speaking to some of the points raised earlier, being passionate and being intentional about what you want to do and what project you want to do, and then just building a network to get to produce and implement. But there's a great knowledge. I mean, it depends also on the genres. I think in the music scene, the East is popping in terms of the music scene, which is where we play more in the music scene in the East. But documentaries, scripted genres are also starting to pop up, and I think it's a matter of time. It's a matter of time. We need more forums like this that can unite and unite to then open up to new projects and new opportunities. But from a Viacom CBS perspective, for us, we are building a Pan-African. We are a Pan-Africanist looking for Pan-African opportunities. So we want to work. We're open for business. We want to work with anyone.
Okay.
Concepts that are broad, but it has to be concepts with ability to travel, concept that can also inspire. I think because ultimately we do this for audiences, but there's no African narrative. I don't like kind of giving this sense of like I think the African narrative is so diverse, it can be one, because we are different. We come from different backgrounds, cultures, languages, experiences. But a good script is a good script, guys. If you watch the latest stuff, we're all watching Narcos, and it's in Spanish, and we're good. We're all binging and are passionate about it. If the script is good, it has to be that travels and can inspire other people. Good storytelling is universal. But we can't also just expect it to happen. We need the structure and the business models, and let's keep innovating in that space.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Got it.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely. You happy, Anita?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Monday. Appreciate that one, sir. We're going to move straight on. We've got a couple of questions. I think 2 questions. Please try and make them quick and encapsulate them for Mr. White, Mr. Michael Jai White. These questions are coming from Liane Huete. Liane Huete, do we have you in our room? Is she with us? Liane Huete, one of our BET question winners. If she's not in the room,
She's here.
is she here?
Yes.
Yes, yeah.
Oh,
Hi.
welcome, lady. Welcome. Where are you? Do I see you? There you are. Hello. You've been here the whole time. How are you?
I'm good, and yourself?
Oh,
So,
good. Oh,
my
yeah.
question for Mr. White. So the first question would be that because your fighting style is to not be seen coming. So my questions are basically like for personal development, and you also have said that you have a hard time portraying fear. What does it take for you to make a necessary mental switch when you are in a situation that requires vulnerability and not tact, in whether a role that you're acting or in real life?
Well, with being a martial artist, I use certain aspects of the martial arts in everything in my life, which is really the most important thing is discipline. And so with the art of acting, which I've been doing as a professional separate from martial arts, I then just apply that resilience and that discipline to acting. So Yeah, I know I mentioned at one time, one of the most difficult things for me to play is fear, because it's something that yeah, we all have our strengths and our weaknesses. I tend to not be very fearful in life. And so to play the opposite of what I am, is just an acting, it's just kind of an acting exercise. But it's really not too difficult when I have to do it. I really don't have a lot of roles where I'm quite fearful. I have moments, but it's not so much of an obstacle. So just the acting background, I just, it's just a switch that I can remember when I tap into when I was quite younger and might have that kind of feeling.
Okay.
Thank
So
you very
the
much.
second question obviously
Second
would
question.
be that how easy or difficult was it for you to meet and navigate the mindset of the kids you were a special education teacher to?
Well, it wasn't difficult for me at all. I've been on my own since I was 14 years old. One of the reasons, connected to the whole fear thing is that I've had a life that there's a lot of things that you might see in the movies that I experienced firsthand. I didn't realize how crazy my life was till I got out of it. But so I had quite a dramatic life, a lot of street fighting, shootouts, things like that. And I survived that. I found I had a skill in reaching children who were very much like myself. So I wound up teaching special ed, dealing with kids who were, like I say, were like me. So I understood them quite profoundly. I consider myself as one of the luckiest human beings on the planet because of where I came from and where I am now. So I'm still quite committed in outreach programs for kids who were like me, and I do motivational speaking around the world, not only this country but everywhere I go. I reach out to that because my firm belief is that I was saved for a reason. So I share that wherever I go.
Thank you very much.
Amazing. Thank you very much. Thank you, Liam. That was great, Michael. Thank you for just breaking knowledge there with us. I'm going to ask the next question to my sister, Miss Jocelyn Dumas, out in Ghana. You do so many things as an artist who has put her fingers in all sorts of places, like producing. You've captivated different parts of Africa with the work that you do through your philanthropy journey. You also run this production company, this entity that has already begun the journey to working hand in hand with streaming services that are global and that have wide reach, like your Netflix platforms and your Amazon Prime platform. So you already that African force that is already trading content, and you are walking the bridge, that trades content and trades stories, and especially African stories. How did that come about? How did you navigate that entire flow for yourself and that journey?
Well, thank you for having me. Hi, everyone. I am so honored to be part of this incredible panel. I listened earlier and I took a few notes. So Samad, this is great. Thank you for doing this, BET. Thank you guys. It hasn't been easy. I own a production company, but I haven't done things solely. I've co-produced a few of my content with a production company here in Ghana called Sparrow Productions. And I think that the thing that stands out and works for the production house that I work with, including mine, is the fact that we tell quality African stories. I think that once your work is good, it's easy for the likes of the Amazon Primes and the likes of Netflix to want to put your content on there. So
is she frozen on my side only, or is she frozen on everyone? Okay, let's try. Sorry everybody, please just bear with us. I think she's having connection problems. Yeah, she froze, so we're gonna just possibly let's give it just a couple of seconds. Hopefully she does come back. Otherwise, we are gonna try and move on to the next question, and we can come back.
She's back. She's back.
She's back. Okay.
Yes.
Jocelyn.
She's on mute. You're on mute,
Okay.
Jocelyn. And you froze. Still on mute.
Are you there, Jocelyn?
Unmute your phone. Unmute.
Oh, you're on mute. You're on mute, Jocelyn. Yes, got you. That's much. Yeah, I think you're back. We got you. If you can just take that from the top. We lost you pretty early in your talk there.
Okay, so like I was saying, well, like I said earlier, I'm sorry, but I think that it's just a matter of working hard and shooting original content, telling the African story by us, and not saying, changing the narrative a little bit more by showing the most beautiful parts of Ghana as well. So I think that it has to do with quality, hard work, and persistency. Just believing in something and going for it. So for instance, Sparrow Production will shoot a movie and not portray the African woman as the stereotypical African woman who is probably being abused or and I'm choosing my words carefully, but we try to portray the African woman as that strong woman who can become a president if she wants to, or who can get anything she wants to get. So with contents like this, I mean, you're not far from having like the likes of the Netflix and the Amazon Primes wanting to have your content. And obviously the quality of the production is key. So we're using the right technical support, and obviously the right story. It's always important.
Very true, very true, very true. I've got so many questions for you, but I'm going to leave it there for now and come back to you later.
Okay.
We've also got a I think it's a Mr. Theron Smith. Do we have Theron Smith in the room with us?
Yes, sir.
You are here. Oh, there you are, sir. A fellow gray brother. Nothing wrong with that.
I earn these grades.
Yeah. So, Mr. Smith, I know you've got a question for the entire panel, my good sir. Unfortunately, that is not going to be possible because of time purposes. Can you just pick who you want your question to be directed to?
Well, actually, the question was answered. I got a couple of answers. I think the biggest picture is what I wanted to find out was, do we have any specific alliances, organizations, or specific production companies that's leading the charge in trying to get American and African creatives together to work projects together in a more concrete alliance? For example, think about the Academy. The Academy spans across all different industries, but they still house the attention within their boundaries. Do you get what I'm saying? So if we as a diaspora had one unit to kind of put us all together, help put creators together, get Nigerian Nollywood actors to work with American actors and vice versa and stuff like that. I was just wondering if we had an actual concrete organization that's working towards that, opposed to it just being these chance situations that creators get to work with each other. Do we have a actual foundation that's bringing these things together? Because at this time now, this is amazing. It's a bunch of us from all different parts of the globe on this one place right now, which is beautiful. How do we create this as a system and an institution? So that was my big question. Some of y'all answer those questions, but I just wonder, is there an overall idea of putting a council or some sort together? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'd like to give that question to Samad if you have a thing or two to add, but I will say this. I think it becomes very crucial, especially in a time of anything is absolutely possible, in a time of extreme potential. It becomes very important and very key that these conversations go from planning and a lot of words going back and forth to entirely executing something, like making it tangible. Monde touched on this, and Niwa touched on this. Intention becomes very important, and the intent, and I always say this to my fellow actors, it becomes crucial that you invest in yourself as an artist. A Trevor Noah is not a Trevor Noah because he made money in South Africa and set, in South Africa, spending his money locally. He took the bit that he had and he traveled to every single comedy festival around the world. He was a regular feature as if he lived in those festivals. And that was him investing in himself. So he put himself physically in the rooms that would allow him to be seen, heard, shake a hand, and ultimately be known to be someone so he could be tested to be on a bigger stage. So I agree. Samad, if you can unmute yourself, I'm going to ask you to break some knowledge, to break some, to give us some insight there.
Yes. No problem. Thank you for the question. I don't believe we need to wait for any organization to do anything for us. I think this platform is living proof of us just reaching out, applying our brains, applying our relationships, and starting to have that dialogue. The minute we start doing that, then we set a new precedent, right? So now it's more normal. It's a norm for us to reach out in different parts of the world and try to see how best to put something together. And I think the main thing I would like to say to anyone who's an independent content creator, you have to think about the business of this, right? When you think of creativity, how do you monetize it should be part of that. Unless you just want to do it for charity or just do it because it's a passion. There's nothing wrong with that. But as grown people, we have to feed our families, we have to provide, right? So I don't have the luxury of just creating just because. It has to make good business sense, right? So in order to make good business sense, I have to think about the different markets in the world. If I'm going to create a piece of content, where can I monetize it? How can I monetize it globally? Understanding the different markets. North America, what's North America? US, Canada, Caribbean, right? That's a territory. Understanding the UK market, European market, Africa. If you have to break down Africa, then it's country by country as it relates to licensing a finished product. So I don't believe we should sit around and wait for anybody to do anything for us or any organization to be formed. I think we all individually have the power to manifest greatness, to figure out how do we connect these dots. Prime example, a few weeks ago, me and Winsome, we were talking about how do we do something? What should we do? And then we applied our minds and looked at who's our relationships. Boom, 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 boom. Hey, Michael John White sitting right there. It's a relationship. That's a good friend of mine. So I'm gonna look at my relationship and say, hey, Mike, would you be interested in coming on board? Winsome's gonna reach out to one of her relationships. Are you gonna be interested in coming on board? Yeah. Right? And then we look at people who love and support us behind the scenes, and next thing you know, here we are. Monday, me and Monday's been in negotiations and rooms figuring things out many times, right? But if I got something good, hey, Monday, what do you think? Because it's the same mission for BET. BET is building this platform and trying to be create a platform for Africa, right? So that is, I'm not waiting for an organization who we can go to say, hey, can you help us do this? No, the power is within us. The power is in our relationships, which is the greatest asset you can have, is your relationships, managing your relationships. I say you plant the seed, you water the plant, and you cultivate it at some point, but then you keep planting. And that's what this is here. In some form or fashion, I've worked with a bit of everybody. But I can't do this by myself. Winsome can't do it by himself. It's a lot of people behind the scenes who believe in the vision. If it makes sense and the passion is behind it, people will support you.
Yeah.
You know, so I just don't, my point is, I don't think we should ever have to wait for some organization somewhere to do something for us.
And can I clarify too? I wasn't really speaking on waiting as much as saying moving forward from this second right now. Like I said, we're all on the line right now. We're all smart individuals. I've been in the industry 30 years. I work with Winsome. That's how I got in the industry pretty much. So I'm just wondering, from this point moving forward, what kind of resources can we get to that does the daily work of bringing us together? You understand what I'm saying? Not as much as just you know, we all individually link up and we do something, put something together. But I mean, if we had a system that was daily working towards putting us together, making things happen, stuff like that, what would that look like for us in the African diaspora of filmmaking? You understand what I'm saying? I've been watching Nollywood movies for over a decade, you know, and I'm from Brooklyn, you know what I'm saying? But I used to get the DVDs from the street guys, you know what I mean? And Beyonce versus Rihanna and all that stuff. That's what got me into Nollywood, and even to this day, now that Netflix has opened up and have more films, you see the growth and everything. I'm just wondering, what do we have that's just on a daily basis, kind of helping push this agenda?
Now, I hear that, Mr. Theron, and I think that's a very good question to ask. But also, in the beautiful part.
Can I say something?
So, you got to, go ahead, Jocelyn. Go ahead.
But I see where you're coming from with what you're saying, but I think that also, I don't know whether mine is also a question in relation to what you just said. But for instance, Kim said that before you can even break into Hollywood, you need to learn the American accent. Now, a story is a story. We all can't speak American. So there's a lot of Africans out here who are very talented, who could probably be in a production in America. But then because of their accent, one of the criteria is if it's not met, you're not actually going to get the role, or maybe you might not even make the cut. So now I like the idea of how do we come together and what are we doing? How are we bridging the gap between the American actor and even the British African actor, or the British or the Black African actor? Because whether you like it or not, a lot of Americans, they feel that it's America and then the rest of the world. But then at the end of the day is, for instance, Black people together around the world are the same people. So how do we now come together? Let the past advise the narrative into the future. Yes, I'm not going to deny the fact that there was slave trade, it happened, and it affected a lot of people, but then I've learned it in school, but how do I now use that as a tool to now thrive positively ahead? Because everybody wants to be progressive. So again, how do we now bridge the gap between that Black African who lives in Ghana or Nigeria or in the UK? Because for instance, when Cynthia Erivo was casted for Tubman, you know, there was a lot of controversy around it because they feel like, well, she's not American enough, she doesn't understand what we went through, all that. So that's the problem. How do we now bridge that gap, you know, and then work collectively? I think like Theron is asking, to come together as one unit to shoot an interesting story. It could be an African story, it could be an American story, but how do we now, you know, combine forces because we are stronger together?
How do we turn it into a regular thing now?
Yeah. Exactly, because we're stronger together. And the common enemy is not an American, Black American or Black African. The common enemy is out there. So how do we come together as a unit to now address the issues that we're facing from the common enemy? You know, and that's, I think for me, that is something that we need to use this platform for, because I don't want to feel like a Black African when I go to Hollywood, or I don't want to
feel like an artist,
like a Black, you know, Black American, because you're home, you know. So how do we come together as a unit? Because we're stronger together. And that, for me, that is what bothers me. And I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this particular question.
Hello.
That is the question. Winsome, yes.
Yeah, let me jump in. I think I hear what Theron is asking, and Jocelyn, you put it perfectly. We are stronger together. And I think what Samad did, especially when we came together and did this, is exactly what he said. And I think that's sort of the blueprint or the template for moving forward. Get your resources together, you know, because that's your strongest asset. And we put this together. We started talking about this less than 3 weeks ago, but we were in action every day. It is not just a notion. I think we are the quintessential example of you can get it done when the passion and the intent is there. Okay, 3 weeks later, we are here starting a conversation. I hope this is the beginning of a conversation that never ends. It's a conversation that's been long overdue. And here we are now sitting, talking with people globally around the world. When I started Blueprint, I was just trying to reach Harlem. You know what I'm saying? And now I'm here having a conversation with, it is humbling to me, extremely humbling. And Tapelo, I think you put it perfectly. And I think Stephen, who was one of our team, the ancestors are behind us now. It is time to move forward knowing that we're supported. This is our time. It's not, if not us, then who? And if not now, then when?
Absolutely.
100%, 100%.
And I'll just add 2 things. There's a lot of people out there with ideas. It's all about execution. And that's what Winsome just said. I mean, that's what separates everybody. It's the ability to actually execute. You know, how many people have you talked to that have an idea, you see them 2 years later, they're still talking about the idea, 3 years later, you know, you have to execute. Just look through your Rolodex and see what resources, what relationships you have and move forward. The next thing I will also say is, I've been on sets where when it's lunchtime, everybody goes to their corner, right? People group up. And even in Africa, I've been on sets where people group up. So the problem is we don't break bread together. And what, you know, and where I come from, breaking bread can mean money or just as simple as actually sharing a meal. But when you break bread with people, and that from an African American, I say, well, let me sit down with this person from Uganda or this person from wherever and actually have a meal and talk. And then you'll start to see, hey, we have a lot of things in common. And then that might start to inform your creative spirit, right? Because now you say, wait, I can cast this person. I think Yina said it earlier, right? Well, why can't this lawyer be Nigerian even though we're shooting this movie in New York? You know, so the minute you start to break bread and have dialogue with people from different cultures, it becomes easier because all we know is what we were shown in America. I'll tell you, as a Black American, African American, all we've seen growing up was donate to Africa. There's some kind of warlord. There's babies with flies on their face. There's HIV. There's a coup. All of the negative things you can imagine, or a safari or Tarzan. Imagine growing up, that's all we know, right? And then you have this relationship with Africa, you really don't know. It's like the Africans. Yeah. Then you get to a point, you travel to Africa. And then the people in Africa knows every TV show, every movie, they know every actor. Actors who we might classify as a C actor or somebody who's a has-been might be someone that they really like and spot or admire someplace in Africa because they grew up watching American content. So we don't understand each other. And then, you know, somebody told me before, do Americans cook? I said, what do you mean do we cook? Yeah, we cook. But all your movies is you always ordering Chinese food or pizza. Only time you guys eat is to eat together or cook is Thanksgiving or Christmas. I've heard that.
There's always takeout. There's always takeout.
The point is, everybody has the wrong impression of everybody. We're confused. And until we start to break bread, I don't care if it's have a coffee together, have a drink together, go to a comedy show together, pick up the phone and talk. Until you do that, we're going to always be in corners. And we can't wait and figure this out the moment there's a budget to produce something and say, hey, let me just cast this person. Because that's why when we write these stories, a lot of times there's a disconnect because you're just putting your own opinion on what you think someone else's culture is. So that's what I would say. It's simple as breaking bread. And that's why I've been traveling around Africa and Europe, and I try to build my relationships organically and genuinely and I share meals and talk. Jocelyn, I mean, you just mentioned Sparrow. I remember I met you years ago, and you still working with that same Shirley from Palm.
Yep.
To this day, that means you guys have a great relationship a decade later, and that's what it's about. So relationships, let's break bread, let's understand each other, let's share meals with people from different cultures, and that would inform your creativity and everything else.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. 100% taking notes. And, you know, it's actually everything you're mentioning is everything you as an individual or human being naturally have.
Yes.
You know, we naturally have the power to say, hello, how are you? What are you up to? To ask the questions. We naturally have the ability to inspire each other, educate each other. You can use or build your relationship as, and, you know, without having to spend money. You know, I like that.
May I add something to this?
Yeah, of course.
Yes, because I know, you know, this question, we've been dealing with this question, but I think Theron's question is quite the essence of why we're here.
Yeah.
And I think I'd be remiss if we leave this conversation without a plan coming from it. One thing I would encourage is that even in the inception of our art, if we can think about these things, think about how to create these win-win situations with each other. Yeah. Okay. The reason I have a global career is because I'm significant in Russia, Germany. What I'm doing is something that sells and creates win-win situations all around the world. And now with that, because of action being sold all around the world, there's a reason why the only Chinese guy we know is Jet Li or Jackie Chan and things like that, because there's, okay, what do we get from the cultures and stuff? Okay, so the thing is, if in the inception I think of how, because I want us to be global. This is why I'm here. This is why I've been shoulder to shoulder with Samad. How do I help Jocelyn? I'm concocting a movie that I'm trying to sell everywhere. How do I sell to her territory? How do I make it a win-win situation for her? How do I make it a win-win situation for this person who is significant in this part of the world? When we put those things together, these win-win situations, they just pretty much take care of themselves, because we're not just only myopic in our view. Yeah. That's why I'm, here. And I say, I love his question because, hey, I mean, I feel like we are answering that question by being here. This is how we get that done.
Absolutely.
But it breaks my heart to see power in a room and the discussion go in a circle. Not saying that that's what's happened, but this has happened often. That discussions can go in and we agree with rhetoric that's occurred before us and will occur after us. But if we said, let's eat at Joe's, at least Joe's revenues would go up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So all I'm asking personally, I would love a plan. And when I say, I'm raising my hand to say, call on me, any of you. If I can help, I will. All right. So that's the nature of what this is. So I hope as we continue to speak, you're concocting that question, and so we can go, I got, I want to inbox this person because I have, we may be able to help each other. And there's no greater feeling that can change everything than if we did something and we progressed with something that was our unified effort.
Yeah.
We don't have to speak about it because we did it. Mm-hmm. And I don't mind if it starts here because it tends to grow. So if I can, because Samad knows, if I can do something that helps, and I flew there to get fed and back, but I know this is a seed that's going to help. You'd be surprised at what you'd hear from me, because this is bigger than all of us. If to tell the world that we don't have to ask for what we want. We don't. For us not to ask for what we want is priceless.
Yeah, we just got to get up and do it.
Yeah, so I just say, hey, let's continue the discussion, but please, let's follow up.
Yeah, absolutely.
With a tangible ask, a tangible ask that we can, put our efforts into action.
And I must say, to add to that, the answer should come from us as individuals before we expect the answer to come from us as collectives. We all have the answer. We all already have an idea of what it is we want to achieve as an end goal. So to work it backwards is a beautiful exercise, because you start seeing what you need to be doing or who you need to be talking to get to where you need to get. And we live in a beautiful time where, I can possibly reach a Michael Jai White if I really put my efforts to it and talk to him in under 2-3 days. I couldn't do the same 10 years ago. So we have, portals, the channels are there, the digital era is beautifully linking us. We just got to know who we are in every room that we're in, or every webinar that we're in. Thank you so much, Mr. Wade.
I just want to close out my question real quick.
Okay, I'm going to give you one more. I need to move on to one important panelist before she goes. No, go ahead. Just plant the seed. Let you plant the seed.
I wanted to put an end on it. Is just that, I've worked in Viacom for almost 20 years. I used to produce Rap City. I used to produce Sucker Free. Even brought Yo MTV Raps 2011. But I've constantly been in a situation where I want to take my talents and bring it to Ghana or bring it to Nigeria, but I have no outlet to do that. Do you get what I'm saying? Like you said, speaking to somebody and breaking bread and meeting people. But like for me to just out of the blue, I want to use my talents culturally to help the overall culture. You get what I'm saying? And I don't have any specific place that I can go to and say, I'm going to bring my talents here for the bigger goal, not financial, not this and that, but just, besides the financial and the industry element of our, film, cinema, boom, boom, we are also cultures. You understand what I'm saying? And I think we cherish melding cultures more than just cherish melding industries. You get what I'm saying? And my objective would be how do I bring my 30 years of talents, skill set, and everything to anybody in the diaspora to help them to build the culture up. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I think you just started. The first step is already done, man. We're sitting in this global webinar. What you've just mentioned now about bringing your 30 years experience and completely plugging it into Africa one way or another, it's already done. You're already in the right room. So the beauty of being able to say hello and have a conversation has already set it off, and this webinar, just hearing that and being from Africa and in Africa right now is as good as done.
Hi. I'm just saying hi.
Hey guys, Tap, I know you're moving forward, but I would not feel right if I didn't add to pull it all together, because I just listened to you all, and you guys, that was so great. But I think what everybody just said is basically like, it's like we need, because individually we can connect together and we could pull our connections, but what ultimately what the Ron is saying is, who leads the charge forward to form this alliance? Because we do need one, and it should exist. That is what the Academy is. And it's like, now that it's 2020, how do we create Facebook, the Academy African Diaspora version of Facebook for us, so that we can connect with each other? I shouldn't have to struggle to connect with you guys. We shouldn't have to struggle with everyone individually linking and all of that. That is we're doing that because that is our struggle. However, those that are in the academy don't have to do that. Every year in November, December, they get mailers, they get screeners. How do we send screeners to each other of our work? And it would be easier to do those things if we had our own organization, alliance, whatever it is. It does not exist for us, and we're going to struggle until we get that. So I don't know where this conversation, I know we're going to continue this conversation forward, but wherever that conversation moves forward, it should be forming whatever this is, because it starts with us. But that's it. Bye, y'all.
And I just
Power to that. Power to that.
I just want a little bit more on what Jakari said. Like Jocelyn said, we are stronger together. And the whole impetus for this conversation, for Blueprint as a whole, is our people perish for lack of knowledge. This is what we need. There was so much wisdom dropped here. People are already asking, when is the replay going to be? Because I've missed something. You know what I'm saying? So this was so informative and powerful. I don't want anybody who gave us any bit of their time today to feel like they were not appreciated and we didn't get it. It was larger than even what we said.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. You know, like you said, Winsome, 3 weeks ago, when we were talking about getting this thing off the ground and getting it done, you know, we knew for a fact that these people who have agreed to lend us their time and their value and their insights don't have that kind of time. But the fact that they've given us even a minute, my God, is priceless. And I have to agree with you. It is really great. I want to speak to Connie, Queen Ferguson. Is she back? Or?
She's almost on. She's almost on.
She's almost on?
Maybe save her.
Not a problem. Not a problem. I'm going to keep it moving then. I've got a question for Connie, but I know I've got a lady from Botswana, and Connie is from Botswana. You know, I wanted to get, is it, you know, it's a sir, Mr. Sam Gwenya. Sam Gwenya from Botswana. He had a question for Shauna, who's done, and for Connie. So I'm gonna park you, sir, with Connie, but I'm gonna open up the channel to Samad, and if you want to ask Samad a question, I see you've got a note here. You want to ask Samad something? Go ahead. Over to you. If you're with us, Mr. Ngwenya, you can fire away. Samad is all yours. Are you with us? You just have to unmute yourself. And you're good to go. Yeah, just unmute and you're golden. There we go. Bottom.
You're still muted, Sam.
Bottom right, Sam. Just go bottom left. Sorry. Your mute button.
Okay. Yeah, I'm on now.
Yes. Welcome.
Yeah. Well, my question was very simple. It's a one-liner.
Love one-liner.
What I wanted to ask from Samad, as the guys from Hollywood, is to tell us, I think it's actually been answered a little bit, to just tell us how do you keep the authentic African story, especially that Africa is diverse. And I had people thinking that Africa is a country, which is not. So it's very diverse from the south to the north. You're talking of very, very diverse people. So how do we encapsulate that, the uniqueness of Africa, and keep getting Africa to be represented the way it is?
Right. So two things I would say. You know, in this, as we marketed this, we said Hollywood is not a destination. It's a mood, it's a feeling, it's a level of execution, right?
Yeah.
So for me, I don't look at Hollywood as, you know, going to California. It's really wherever you are able to produce and create and execute, right? And then from a story to, I think tribalism, let me just say this. We're all talking about how do we do this and how do we do that. You know, the one thing that gets in our way collectively as a people is tribalism. And what I mean by tribalism, not just a country or a place in Africa or just different tribes in Africa. I'm saying tribalism, period. African Americans, we have this whole tribalism thing. And then if you want to go deeper into that, we start breaking down into cliques. I'm from New York. I'm from LA, I'm from Miami. And it's always tribalism. You go to Africa, you know, Nigeria is Nigeria. Then they have the tribalism things happening within that. You go to South Africa, tribalism, right? Everybody's creating everybody's in their own corner. So the minute I think, how do you overcome that? I mentioned breaking bread earlier, and then I'm going to mention the right partnerships, the right strategic partnerships. I can't produce something in Botswana unless I'm speaking with, I have a partner who knows their thing in Botswana. And we can marry what you know in Botswana with what I know from a global stage. And how do we make that story commercially viable?
Yeah.
That's what we have to look at, because I'm in a room with the Mandis of the world and I know how they think. And they're going to look at, Mande said it earlier. He said he has to look at the business first, right, Mande? You have to look at the business to see how does it make business sense. So I'm not going to lead you astray and say, okay, I love this story you came up with. It's about something that happened in a village in Botswana, and you had to live it. You had to grow up in Botswana to appreciate the story. Then I'm going to tell you, how do I monetize that? Versus, let's sit down and figure out how do we still respect that story that you're telling. I think Michael Lucker said it best. You know, a good story translates anywhere. And I do know people will watch anything if your story is developed properly, your characters is developed properly. You know, it has, you know, the movie doesn't start off the way, it doesn't end the way it started. So there's something, people will watch any kind of content if it's meaningful. And when I say meaningful, I don't care if it's about a drug lord or whatever the case may be. People want to latch on the characters. They want to root for somebody. They want to hate someone. They want to empathize or sympathize. So as long as you know as a storyteller that you're going to tick all these different boxes creatively, then you're going to make sure you tick the boxes from a business standpoint, that you paid attention to how we're going to market this. Who can we get into? I was on this panel and Michael Jai White said he's accessible. You, as a creator, keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Michael Jai White said he's accessible. He's interested in doing some compelling stuff. Malik Yoba said the same thing. Anika said the same thing. So if you can look at how do you marry talent from, whether it's Botswana, South Africa, anywhere in Africa, and mix and match, mix with somebody from the UK or the US to try to tick the box so that your product, your end product, is commercially viable. That is what we have to think about. Let's get rid of the tribalism one. Let's create stories and find the right strategic partners that can keep things authentic, but still allow the end product to be commercially viable.
Thank you. Yeah.
That's what I would say. And let's tick those boxes, and let's tap into the relationships that we've cultivated to get it done. Yeah. That's the recipe.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Thank you so much, Mr. Ngwenya. Appreciate that.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ngwenya.
Thank you, my sir. I'm gonna, I want to ask Connie a question or two if she is back. If you're there, Connie, just give us a hello. If you're not back, I'm gonna move on to my BET winners. But yeah, I think as we get closer to the end of the third session.
She's joining now.
Is she joining now? That's great. I just realized that there is so much that there is to know. And what's happening here on this webinar is a lot of seeds are being planted, a lot of questions are being answered, and a lot of direction is being given. It's on us to then pick that up and go define what that means for our individual journeys. And I think for any artist or filmmaker, storyteller that's watching this webinar, it's important to understand that ultimately you will always get drops of knowledge from different places. You go online to Google, you go on YouTube, you watch different clips from different people. It's what you do with what you get that determines what the next step is or what the journey is for you as a filmmaker. And I'm learning that from my own experiences. And sometimes you really just gotta feed the monster, empower your own art so that you can do things the way you do things and offer what your unique offering is at all times. I've got a question from Kahiso Muleme. I see, Kahiso, you're still with us. I'm going to try to give you your one question, my brother, because you've been here for a long time and you want to speak to Connie. So, you know, she's coming on. And Murungwa Ntoke will be our last BET winner, competition winner, that will speak to Connie Ferguson. And I think for me at this point, with the last three questions, you know, I'd like for us to maybe encapsulate all of the entire discussion today. So within your answers, my panelists, just give us a wrap up of, you know, your sentiment, given what we've done here today. What is the ultimate takeout from each of my final panelists? Maybe we can start there until Connie comes on. So let's start with, say, for example, who can we start with? It's Michael Jai White. Your closing sentiment, my sir, and what you're leaving us with and what you taking out from this entire experience.
It would just be a reiteration and encouragement. It's basically what I think we've all said. What Samad just said to me is what I said, which was, you know, you're creating a win-win situation. How do you win with my involvement? How do I win with your involvement? Sometimes as artists, we are so focused on what we want, and we're not thinking about what the other side gains in that transaction. And, you know, so that's what it is. You got to just say, okay, and you can explain, if you know how that person wins, well, you can encourage them. You can persuade them to do business with you much easier, you know? So I would, you know, like I say, I would encourage more of that. The fact that I believe this is the beginning, this could very well be the beginning to those questions, to the question that Jan asked. And then maybe this leads to an organization. I know, you know, I'm here by way of Samad, and I want to thank Samad tremendously. Samad's a friend of mine, and, you know, I'll do whatever he says.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
You got me beside him. I don't even have to think anymore. So that's how that relationship works. So, I mean, you know, I just look forward to, you know, just progress. And, you know, hopefully we look back and say, hey, man, it started here.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much, Mr. White. You know, I'm an actor, and you are a true inspiration on so many levels. You know, and just keep doing what you're doing. Keep teaching us the way and how to master ourselves through discipline. That's key. That's major. Thank you so much. So, Monday, sir, if there's anything that you have to impart as some form of closing for us, you've seen what we're trying to put together here, or what we've put together here. Not tried, we did it. And you know, what more do you want to see going forward? In fact, how do you think creators of content should, from this moment on, be engaging with you as a broadcaster? Besides knocking at your door, what is it that you want to see when somebody walks through your door at BET?
Listen, I think this has been an amazing opportunity. I mean, I'm at a personal level, I'm inspired just by the knowledge sharing and openness from everyone. And these are diverse views from people who are coming from diverse areas of the same industry we all operate in. From my perspective, guys, you know, I want to encourage everyone, let this not be lost to a connected space alone. I think we need to put a lot more action and implementation to this forum. Sometimes, yes, it does require us maybe to structure it a lot more. But I think, you know, once again, Samad has done an amazing job with the team to pull us all together. I'm a great believer in networks, and building on networks, building on projects. And also, I think what I'm seeing is a lot of passion and real clear, meaningful intent to get us to move forward. One, as Africans, two, as also making sure that we are closing that gap between African Americans and Africans. We are closing that gap in terms of just what's good storytelling. If you're brown, it cooks. Everyone wants. Let me tell you guys, BT is in Korea. We just launched BT Korea a year ago. We've got BT in France. We've got BT in the UK. We've got BT in Africa. We've just launched a BT show in Nigeria, in Lagos. We've got a few obviously here. BT is about to launch a long-running daily drama. We're launching now in July. There's a lot happening in our space. We want to be in Ghana. Honestly, BT wants to be in Ghana. I'm talking to some of our partners in Ghana to see what we can do. We're talking, like I said, we'll be, from my MTV portfolio, we'll be in Uganda, in the East, guys, it's Africa Day on the 25th. Okay, I'm actually inviting.
Oh, yeah.
It's Africa Day on the 25th. I'm inviting all of you. I'll through you, Samad, I'll send you. And we're doing an initiative, a COVID initiative, which and we're reaching out to everyone. We've got Idris Elba who will be hosting this initiative, and I'm going to invite this whole group because I think it takes knowing who's doing what, and projects we're all doing to see how best we can either fit, collaborate, partner. That's how it's going to work, guys. And I think that's kind of the approach is, how do we collaborate? How do we partner? But it's going to take us sharing ideas, and understanding, what Michael's latest project is, what's Tapelo's latest project. Samad and I, we talk all the time. Some stuff we see, hey, this can work, maybe this can't work, Let's talk about models. How do we license? What works in, licensing models work differently. What works for free-to-air, for pay TV, for Netflix. Netflix is exciting at the moment. They're in the territory, doing some stuff, but they got a different business model, But it's about also sharing the various business models that and the value chain, and everyone understanding the value chain in terms of the continent, but also content that travels. We've just did a sitcom called Black Tax, and that sitcom is shot in English. We're now about to do a French version of it, because we've got French interest now from other territories. Canal Plus wants to license it, etc. So it's understanding the value chain, but it's going to take us slightly stepping up from this level in terms of just how do we then formally connect in a way we either share ideas in terms of, if you go to like publications like Screen Africa or all these industry, it's difficult to because all those things are happening post. We need the ideation space, in the modeling space. That's where we need to connect. BT Africa is open for business. Through Samad, let's find a way of sharing contact details, exchanging information, creating a bit more structure to just take us to the next level where this becomes a lot more fluid. Just in my black book, I can pull up another 30, 40 other people that can add to this process and elevate really the narrative about how do we, and from an African-American perspective, just talking to my BT colleagues, there's such a huge hunger for the continent, stories coming from the continent.
Wow.
African-Americans wanting to connect with the continent. And vice versa, we also want to connect. It's funny, we all, but we're not engaging. I just want to thank, it's quite a humbling opportunity to be part of this. let it not die off, let it not go to waste. The commitment, I think, like Michael just put it out there to say he's available. Honestly, I think myself, I'm available. I'll always put up my hand and say, hey guys, let's connect. Let's make this a much more meaningful, deeper exercise, because, ultimately that's the bridge. We doing what we're doing from a network and via perspective in Africa to connect. Let's create formats. One of the vision we have is to create African formats that can travel globally. So once again, let's do it. Let's not talk, because I know we also great speakers and talk well.
The award-winning speakers, don't you know?
Let's put action to this great starting point.
Exactly. Absolutely, Monte. Thank you so much. So that is 100% on the nail. Let's do that, and maybe let's begin by dropping all of our social media handles, the easy stuff, right? Just your digital platforms. Post on the chat, just go on that chat icon and just put up your social handles, so we at least know how to follow your journey, and stay inspired, and maybe start sharing messages at some point. But yes, how do we then move on from planting seeds? We got to water the garden. That's what needs to happen.
Yes. Connie's on.
Yep.
Connie's on.
Yep. That's what needs to. Yeah. Samad, you got something?
Yeah.
Connie's back?
Connie's gone. Connie's here.
Okay, cool. So I definitely want to have 1 or 2 words with Connie. I would like to speak to Jocelyn, our Lady Dumas, give us a bit of a closing before we wrap up, as well as Winsome is also going to give us a closing sentiment, as well as a quick closing sentiment from Samad. Connie, welcome.
Hello, hey everyone.
Hey!
Hello. There for a bit, but I'm back. I'm here.
Look, it is understandable. To whom much is given, right? Much is expected. So it never stops, and I do understand you got a lot on your plate. You run this, you run that. It comes with the territory. So welcome, Connie. Nice to see you.
Talk to you.
Yeah, we've done, so much together. You were right there when I began my acting career. You've stayed consistent. You've stayed relevant for so long, and it's real. It's not because of something unreal. It's because of the work that you were putting in. The question I have, which is the same space I'm in as an actor who also works with different brands and has his own businesses and his own brands and products, outside of myself as an acting brand, how do you navigate, the business side of things? You've got a cosmetics brand. I've got a men's grooming brand coming out. I've got a wine brand, but I've found a way to separate my person from my products. How do you successfully do that? Because when I look at your cosmetic products, I feel like they can sell on their own without you putting your face on the bottle, which is a great thing because you created a product. How do you maintain that relationship between yourself as an artist and yourself as a businesswoman and separate it?
I actually don't separate a lot, because at the end of the day, I am the brand. I am my USP. I am my unique selling point.
Yeah.
So how I carry myself as a brand is actually what sells my product. So everything that I do in front of the screen, everything that I do in my personal space has to be representative of the brand that I'm putting out there. So the cosmetics brand has done very well. I hear you when you say it can actually sell without my face on it, and which is absolutely true right now. But because of what I've been doing for the past 30 years now, people associate with that face so much that when that face is not there, it's almost like, no, it's not Connie. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know a lot of people who actually finish the body lotion, and then they will keep the bottle for the sake of keeping the bottle.
Yes.
Yeah, so that unique selling point is very important. But obviously for the men's range, we don't use the face. It's just a branded bottle, and the product still does well in any case, just with the name.
Wow. And does that, I mean, are you having, is it a normal experience for you to navigate both your productions, your own acting roles and then your businesses? Does it not affect the way you are as a producer, the way your business runs? Or have you set up systems that empower both your production company so everything keeps running, whether or not Connie's there? How have you set that up, or what's your approach to keeping sane through all of that?
They are two completely different businesses, right? I have Koni Multinational Brands, which is the one that handles the beauty products and the merchandising side of the business. And then we have Ferguson Films, which I run with my husband, Shona. And this is what focuses on creating content, making drama. So the two businesses are two completely separate entities. So I dedicate some time to Goni Multinational Brands, but I run it with another partner who's actually quite savvy in marketing. He's a marketer. So he's also managed to help market the brand and put it out there. We are in stores. So I do have help. I could never claim to be able to do anything on my own. I do believe that, with every step that you take, with every elevation that you make, you do have someone that you walk alongside with. I suppose, which is why we have this platform as well, is to say, that you can never walk, you can never travel a journey on your own, right? You always need to be traveling with someone. So I have a team of people who are traveling with me with the cosmetics brand. And then I have a whole production team with Ferguson Films who are working hand in glove with me to make this company, the best that we can make it.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely phenomenal. Like the way you make it seem so effortless is really what we're trying to unlock and possibly help the next Connie Ferguson, get the right chops so they can do their own thing. Cool. Yeah. We've got 2 questions from our BET competition winners, and they want to know from you, Sister Connie. Firstly, Murungwa Ntoke. Is she on? Do we have her with us, Samad? Is she with us? If you're there, Murungwa, just give us a hello so you can ask Connie. I see 2 questions from you. If she's not, we can move on. We've got Kahisho Moleme. Is Kahisho here?
Yeah, tapelo.
Okay. How are you doing, brother? How are you doing?
I'm good, and you, Tebza?
I'm good, man. I love, you've just brought me back to South Africa, like that was definitely like a guy next door greeting. Okay, Smiley, Connie is all yours. She is all ears. Shoot.
Hello, Kanisha.
How are you, Connie?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm awesome. Can I put one for when Mamzo?
Yes.
Yeah, how do you choose your actors or your actress for your productions? Do they have to be people that went to drama school, or do you also take people with natural talent with formal education?
Yeah.
Yes, that's my question.
Okay, I'll start by how we actually select our actors that we use on any of our shows. Sure. We send out a brief to different agents, right? And then the agents will select from their actors who they feel will be most suited to the roles that we are auditioning for. And then they'll send those actors to us, who we then audition and shortlist. Once we've shortlisted the ones that we feel could be suitable for the role, We then call them back. And then we put them on the actual set with our existing actors to perform an actual recorded scene, like they're recording for broadcast, right? And then based on that, we see how they fit in the environment, if they have chemistry with the actors that they're working with, and that helps our selection process.
Yeah. So you haven't made history like to pick one of your followers on Twitter or come and act at the Queen. I mean, I'm here.
I see where this is going.
No, Tapelo. Yeah, Tapelo.
Yes.
Actually, Mama Connie can tell the truth. Now I'm always tweeting her that I want to act on the Queen, man. She knows.
Is that an audition right there? There's absolutely nothing wrong with reaching out, but obviously we do prefer to work through agents because it is a system to be followed, and we love to follow that system. But if you believe that you are talented and you'd like to prove yourself and you'd like to prove yourself to us, and maybe you have an tape or a self-tape that you've made, you're absolutely welcome to send us. We're willing to have a look at it. We can audition you. And if we feel that there's great potential there that we can work with, then we can put you with our existing actors and to see how you work on an actual set in front of multiple cameras with the lights and everything. Do you not get flustered? And then we take it from there. But you know, your other question was, do we only audition people who went to school, or do we also look at natural talent?
Yes.
I always obviously encourage going to school, but there are those people that are just naturally talented where it's so in, like they were born with it. Those people are trainable. Like you can recognize talent in someone. You look at someone, even if they do like a self-recording, and you go, oh, this person has that thing, right? Or they have that it thing. You know when someone has something that you can work with. And we love them. Because what we usually bring out of them is like they become like their next big thing. So yeah, no, we don't just consider people who have gone to school or who have degrees. Obviously, that's great and that does work for them, but we also look at natural talent.
Okay.
May I add something, please, Mr. Tapelo? Taps.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to pose the same question around the same thing from to Connie. I've been able to follow you in so many things. I participated in BET Top Actor Africa earlier on, and I've been trying to like just open up to the world because I don't want to limit myself to Kenya. I've been wanting to work with South Africans. I've been wanting to work with Nigerians, but it seems I don't have my way around all that. What would you advise me?
I think you need to increase your network of people. Okay, who do you hang around? Who does the person around know that could help open doors for you? You need to find ways to put yourself out there. Social media is right now, but because everybody is doing it, you kind of need to identify what makes you special. And when you put something out there, make sure that the people that you want to see that thing see it. Or if you don't have it, if you don't have the means to do that, then make sure you know someone who's able to make sure that someone sees that. But it's a very competitive industry. I'm not going to lie to you. So when you come into it, you need to come into it with the mindset that this is what I want. I do appreciate that it may be difficult and some doors may be hard to open. Never give up. If you believe you have what it takes and you can bring something great to the table, never give up. That one door will open. And once that one door opens, seize that opportunity with both hands and run with it. Don't take it for granted. Know that this is my opportunity, is now or never or die, because that will determine your next.
And you know, that is absolutely 100% correct. And to add to what Sister Connie is saying, Alex,
Yeah.
it's, you know, you asked the question, what can you do with what you have? And what you have is more than enough, especially in the digital era. Here's what I've done to try and help and assist and empower someone like yourself. In my 37 years of age, I've decided, 19 years in this industry, I've learned a lot. I've been blessed enough to have a fruitful career that has exposed me internationally. And I thought, let me create a platform that can help you with the basics and the information that you need to be empowered. So if you go on YouTube, one of the collaborators and partners to this event, to this webinar, is The Artist Corner TV. The Artist Corner TV, where I'm taking actors and actresses through my journey and my experiences in the industry, from the beginning of the industry to the very top of the industry. So where does it begin? It begins with you booking your gig, right? It begins with you entering the industry. So if you go on Artist Corner TV now, the first episode is an introduction episode, but the next one that's coming next week is an episode about booking your first gig. I'm literally talking about the audition process. I'm literally talking about the psychology of the artist who leaves their bedroom, whether you're at your mother's house, your own apartment, but what you are taking to that transaction called the audition, which I find to be one of the most beautiful spaces to be in, because an audition process is there to marry an artist and a concept through a team. And if there's a fit, then there's a fit. So for now, I'll tell you straight, check your digital personality and your digital presence and your digital person. So outside of your physical, there's a digital presence that you have. Take care of that. Build on that. How does your Instagram look? Does your Instagram communicate your potential offering? What does your Facebook look like? Is it just images of you partying and drinking with friends and swearing at people left and right? Or are you building an extension of your physical? Because that can already tell people a lot about what you do. Go online, Google monologues, perform the monologues, put them up on your platforms. Create avenues where people don't have to come all the way to Kenya to know about you, or you don't have to come here physically. Create avenues for people to see your work through links, through packaging. You have to package yourself, and if you stay ready, you never have to get ready. So take care of your well-being. Stay fit. As Connie will tell you, she's a fitness enthusiast. And, it's so inspiring because I'm a fitness enthusiast myself. But when you start using your body, like Michael Jai White spoke, to release the good feel energies like endorphins that make you creative and that make you the sharpest tool in the room, somebody's going to see you. Somebody's going to notice, so don't take for granted the digital era and the digital space. So many people can find you online and reckon with your talent way before you have to get on a plane to come to South Africa.
Wow.
All right.
Yeah, I get you.
Yes. So that's my little 2 cents. So take care of your digital presence. Blow us away online because you can control that and you own that translation. Okay. I'm going to ask, thank you so much, Osconi, for those pearls. I'm going to ask for closing remarks and sentiments, especially from the one lady I haven't spoken to since we opened the last segment, Jocelyn Dumas. If you could, Jocelyn, I know you have so much on your plate, and during COVID-19 time, you're really on the ground, and we see that. With your art and with your offering as an artist, what is the last thing you want to leave, that bright young kid with so much potential in the corner of Africa where there's probably no signal and this much data, where people have to go on their knees and pray for good connection? If they connect and catch your word or two, what would that be?
Thank you. I think it's that creative little boy or girl in that corner shouldn't give up. They should keep, like you said, practicing, keep working on themselves. You never know who's watching, who's going to give you the opportunity. A lot of times we use social media for so many things apart from what we are really passionate about. So again, record some monologues and put it on social media if you have to. Let people like Connie or Michael Jai White or even Aspire Productions see you doing something spectacular. I mean, you need to stand out from everybody else. Again, the competition is really, really tight. So what makes you different and what makes you stand out from everybody else is your ability to own what talent you have. And you might not even go to school for it, but just keep practicing, keep on believing, and you never know. Again, it's one global village. You never know who's watching. You never know who is going to send you a DM and say, you know what, I want to do something with you, come and audition. Even I'm still doing that. And I know you're also doing it, Pelo. So everybody, we are all supposed to, take our craft, take our craft seriously, hone it, and be the best we can be at every given time. Time is of the essence. So again, it's all about, just keep working at it, keep believing, and just one day, keep pushing. And before I even go away, I just want to say that there's been so many talks about everything we've talked about, but nothing has happened. There's so many great ideas, but we walk away and we go back to our usual daily routines. So I pray that everything that Michael said, everything that everybody on here has said is going to be sort of put into action. We are all tired of the talk. When it comes to talk, we can all talk a very good talk, but let's implement. Let's stay together. We can go far together. Let's connect. When I reach out to any of you on there, please, you better respond, because if you don't, I'll call you out. But let's engage, and again, we are stronger together. Let's do this. I hope this is the first of many to come, and it will not just be talk, but it will be a lot of things happening progressively. Thank you for the opportunity, guys. I'm really grateful. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you so much.
Thank you, Jocelyn.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Before I hand over to Samad and Winsome to just really wrap this up for us, and maybe a quick word from Connie, and I see Atando still here, I'm going to ask you to say a quick word and just wrap up, and then quickly Samad and Winsome. I think we could go on forever and ever and ever. I think we've got takeoff, and we've really put something on the ground that has potential to become bigger than us, for more than just our generations. So thank you to everybody. Thank you to my BET winners. Thank you to BET, our voice and our media partner, Magical. Much love and respect to the tech team that's worked on this. I don't want to name all of you. I won't, we'll take a lot of time, but thank you so much for all the hard work you put in. Sister Connie, last word from you. I know you're busy, and I know you probably have set first thing in the morning, so let me not keep you.
I do. I think first, I'd like to say, to everybody that was on this platform today, thank you so much for your time. I feel like this is long overdue. Samad, I don't know how you pulled this off. My brother, you're a genius. Thank you so much for bringing it all together. Conversations need to be had. I believe this is just the start. And for anybody who gets the opportunity to watch this, please get the next person to watch it and the next person to watch it. Because I believe there's so much that can and will be learned about what we do, not just here in South Africa, but in the rest of the continent and in the US. We always say that we are a one people, but we don't always behave like we are one people. So hopefully this is the start of us showing that. And as Jocelyn says, not just talking the talk, but walking the walk as well. So I'm looking forward to things to come.
Absolutely, my lady. Thank you so much. Queen Connie, appreciate you so much, my lady. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Atando Kani, the Prince of Theater. I need a word from you before we go, before we wrap it up. Unmute. Unmute, champ.
Mute and mute and mute and mute.
Yeah.
Again, thank you so much for everybody on this panel. Thank you for the opportunity to be in a virtual room of this magnitude. My last closing sentiments, I hope that we could all, may our dreams not be bigger than ourselves. May we create houses that can hold however big our dreams are. May our Hollywood be a child that is raised by our African village.
Wow. Amandla to that, bro. Amandla to that.
Can I just say
I'm
something?
so happy. I'm so happy that people are going to get a chance to see this because, man, Ronnie, sir, I've been seeing you there, but I don't have it in my notes to call you in.
It's okay. I just wanted to add, as the words of Denzel Washington, each one teach one. Let's set one else up. We can do this. We've got this. We've got this. We've got this. Because it's like on my show, what I'm going to be doing, I will be exposing you. It's now time. You're no longer here. You're here. Let's do this. Connection.
Yeah, we've got takeoff.
Thank you so much. Tap, this is Donald.
Donald, yes, sir.
Yeah, I just wanted to say one thing. I'm one of the producers of the show. My business partner. She might not make it back in time to speak. So I just want to, like I said, thank everybody for coming on board. It's been truly amazing, and we have to continue watering this. We have to continue watering and allow it to grow. So we got to make sure we share with people because it's very organic, it's spiritually connecting, and it's a beautiful thing, and it's that time. So just want to thank everybody for their time. One love.
Thank you, Donald. Thank you. Sorry, I completely forgot to introduce you, Donald. But yeah, we appreciate everything you guys have done to make sure that we can, as a team, come together and make this a reality. Jakari, the whole team, everybody, really, really, really big up. Monde, salute you, sir. Thank you for the strides you making for us artists to have a platform to express ourselves, because that's what it is. We're in an industry of expression, and that's what it's about. Samad, who else has to close before, or has to say something before Samad? I see my brother Enina is still there, but he's just left.
He can close out at his thing before he goes.
He can close out. Well, he's not. Well, I think he's just left his seat. So you can. Is he back? Okay, he's not back. So Samad, I think, Oh, Michael's still here. Yes, God is good. Michael, you've said everything, so I'm not gonna come back to you, but I see you there. I just want to say thank you so much, sir. We've gotten to know you through the power of connection and communication and execution. So, big up for coming onto this platform. Your work is light for us, so keep shining.
Yes, we appreciate you, Mike, so much. Thank you so much.
Hey, we'll be talking soon. So
yes. If everyone had friends like you, man,
would be in a much better place. Yeah, man. Enina, my brother, you back. I need a word from Nigeria before I send it over to America. What you got? You're on mute. You're on mute. You're on mute, my brother.
Mute. You're on mute.
Yeah, you're on mute. Yeah, we got you. Last words, my champ. What do you have? Do you have last words for us, bro?
Yes. I agree with everything everyone said. I'm really grateful to be here today. I feel really blessed. Like I said, there's a reason why we're all here together today. Oh, Nigeria has happened. Okay. So I think some of the speakers said, it's about execution. It's execution time. And I think everything starts from one very pivotal place, which is the story. So if we can pull up the influences that we need to tell the right stories and control the narrative, we can plug in every detail and every character from everywhere in the world in a way that makes sense commercially and in every other way that we want to communicate at our artistry. So I think it starts from the story. So we can focus on that. We'll get it right.
God bless you, man. Thank you so much, brother. Thank you so much. Hopefully we get to meet you soon. Samad.
Yes, yes. I just want to say this has been amazing. I know we originally thought, hey, we're going to do this in 2 hours. It's just too many beautiful minds and spirits sharing. And the time took the time that it took. But I appreciate each and every one of you. I know Winsome does as well. So I want to also thank you guys on her behalf once again. Monday, thank you for just jumping on board. We really appreciate you and all the hard work the BET Africa team has done. Clay, Tabo, Terry, yourself, the whole team. We really appreciate it. And I think you are definitely a visionary. I've sat down with you many times. So I just appreciate that. You're the first person that came to my mind. Mike, you already know. Thank you so much, brother. Friends like you, hey, we all win. Continue to win. So, Atandwa, thank you, brother. Thank you, Atandwa. We appreciate you so much, man. You know, I had the pleasure of working with you, directing this guy on Love by Chance. He's a character, man. Thank you so much. So yeah, I just want to say we want to keep this going. I think the only we can lose. And what I mean by that is if we get out of our own way, we can continue to win. So the things that I meant about tribalism is a real thing. Let's throw that away. We can appreciate each other's background, but we don't have time for that. We only got one life to live. Time is, look at what we're going through right now with COVID. Tomorrow's not promised. So let's get to work. Let's collaborate. Let's execute. And that's what it's all about. And let's do fair business. Okay? Let's do fair business and execute. I also like to thank the people behind the scenes. Michelle, thank you so much for all your hard work. We stressed you out so much. Michelle, wave, let everybody know. I know you've been stressed out back there. Jakari, thank you so much. Our AD, thank you so much. Donald, thank you so much. We're in the trenches together with this. Jarena, thank you so much. Our PR. Tupelo, I can't thank you enough, brother. You've done an amazing job.
Stephen.
Amazing job. Pleasure to work with.
Don't forget Stephen.
Oh, Stephen, thank you so much. Stephen Powell behind the scenes, running this stuff, running the Zoom.
Yeah. And the winners.
And the winners. Thank you, BT winners, for engaging with BT, for coming up with some very compelling questions and taking time out.
Yeah.
You know, that's very important. Yeah. No, that's true. I mean, it's teamwork makes the dream work. Man. You can't run a production if you don't even have the extras in the background. Let's just say everybody's in. Yeah. Let craft services be late. Everybody's in. Okay. So we're just thinking. Let's continue to build on this. Let's find those partnerships, strategic partnerships. I'd like to thank the Fergusons as well, Connie and Shona. I can go down the list. Anika, Malcolm D. Lee. I mean,
the list goes on. It goes on and on and on and on and on
and on and on and on. Jocelyn, thank you so much. Anika, I said Anika. So I just want to thank everybody. This was amazing. You know, let's monetize this in terms of new projects, new opportunities, and let's have that ability to confide or look for mentorship from one another if need be. If you need advice, I'm an open book. You know, I can give advice at any time, you know, if I have something to share. So let's do that.
Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, Samad. Thanks a lot, Tapelo.
Thank you so much.
And I'd like to say one last thing. Black Panther played a big part in, you know, it's like I told you earlier, what are you doing in Africa? And then I would share these different stories on Facebook, Instagram over the years, right? And bring many people to Africa. Then it became, okay, it's not a bad thing. Then Black Panther hits. And now everybody's like, hey, and that's a beautiful thing. That is a beautiful thing because now we see it brought everything into reality for us, you know? When we come together, when you look at the cast of Black Panther, it was people from South Africa, different parts of Africa, the Caribbean, the US, the diaspora. And that's the power that we have. And let's look at that, whether it's a smaller project or something in between. Let's just keep that mindset going. So
Absolutely.
I'm here and I'm available, as Mike said.
Absolutely, absolutely.
All
Thank
right,
you
it's
so
been
much,
good.
Mark. Thank you so much. And yeah, like you raised your hand now, and I think if somebody can take a picture, if we can just all raise our hands like this, and somebody take a picture.
Screenshot this. Can we
It's a
screenshot this?
I don't know how to do it on my laptop.
Wait. Who can somebody screenshot this?
It's
Somebody behind the
recording,
scenes. One of our people behind the scenes.
Hold on.
Sam, you got to put your hand up.
What is it?
Apple
Aina, we need your hand up. We need your hand up. I'm available. Somebody behind the scenes on our tech team, Simo, you can screen.
Bro, it's recording, so you can
There you go.
Yes, of course.
Freeze frame it.
We can freeze frame it. There you go.
Freeze frame it. There we go, Michael.
On the count of three. 1, 2, 3.
Three.
Blueprint.
Yeah, we got that.
Hey.
We got that.
Yes,
I
yes.
just wanna close
Another one.
I just want to close off by saying, are we doing another one? 1, 2, 3.
We'll fist this time, then.
Fist.
A fist?
There we go. We got
Okay,
it.
with the fist.
Yeah.
Fist.
1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3.
Aina, somebody else gonna take it. Get the fist up, Aina. 1, 2, 3.
Done.
We got that.
All right.
In closing, my beautiful people, in closing.
Before you close, Winsome is back. Let Winsome get a last word in.
Winsome,
Perfect timing.
Y'all been closing for about 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I know, right? The whole show is called closing. Closing webinar.
And in closing,
Short and sweet. I want to thank everybody, including my crew. You guys were amazing. This is the beginning of the conversation. It doesn't end here. We'll be doing others. Had to run off. Mommy duties called, but I'm back. I really wanted to say goodbye in person. So thank you guys for being patient and staying here. And I'm going to say this because I mean, I will see you soon. I will see you soon. Thank you, Samad, for everything.
Thank you, Winsome, Donald. Thank you, everybody.
See you soon. And just and I want to leave you with this, everybody. I want to leave you with this. We all, another closing. We all have the power of potential in us. You know, Jakari, stay with me. So I call it the P. We all have the P in us. So find your P, find your major power of potential, and let's dig in. I love you all. Thank you for the opportunity. One love.
Peace and blessings.
Peace and blessings.
And love. Salute.
see you at work.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Thank you. Shout out to Team Blueprint. Jarena.
Hey,
Blueprint.
One love, Team Blueprint.
Yeah.